You thought T.I. had survived it all, didn't you? Arrests, federal investigations, lawsuits stacking up like Jenga blocks ready to collapse. And now, whispers are louder than ever. Is the self-proclaimed king of the South finally facing a downfall he can't rap his way out of? From machine guns to ecstasy pills, from courtroom battles to family feuds gone public, Clifford Joseph Harris Jr. has lived a life under a microscope, and the lens just got brighter. At the 2026 Grammys, T.I. dropped a bombshell. Kill the King will be his final album. But can the man who's dodged jail time, public scandals, and social media assassination survive what's coming next? Is this farewell to rap, or a countdown to chaos? Hold onto your headphones, because we're about to trace every arrest, every accusation, every diss track, and every secret deal that's followed T.I. for decades. By the end of this, you'll ask yourself, will he ride off into the sunset, or will the law and his own past finally catch up with him? You think T.I.'s life has been all yachts, Grammys, and champagne toasts? Think again. From Bankhead Atlanta streets to multi-platinum stardom, Clifford Joseph Harris Jr., the man the world knows as T.I., has walked a tightrope suspended over decades of chaos, legal nightmares, and public scrutiny. Before Kill the King, before the headlines calling him a snitch, before the diss tracks, there was a kid with a plan. But even then, trouble followed him like a shadow that never sleeps. At just 18, T.I. was arrested and convicted for cocaine distribution, manufacturing, and giving authorities a false name, a felony that didn't just haunt him, it defined him. Imagine carrying a conviction like a scarlet letter for the next 20 years while trying to build a career that demanded respect, street credibility, and fame. When he first broke into the scene with I'm Serious, critics shrugged, the public wasn't fully convinced, and the label wasn't impressed. But T.I. didn't just bounce back. He came roaring. Atlantic Records signed him, Grand Hustle Records launched, and the hits started stacking: Rubber Band Man, Let's Get Away, and later What You Know, Big Pimpin'. Tracks that didn't just chart, they cemented his throne. But the throne was built over quicksand. Every top 10 single, every platinum certification, came with arrests lurking behind the headlines. Carrying firearms he legally couldn't own, federal investigations watching every move, probation violations that could have sent him back behind bars at any moment. It was a career balanced on a knife's edge. The 2007 arrest for attempting to buy machine guns and silencers wasn't just a headline. It was the moment the world realized T.I. wasn't untouchable. Federal agents had been watching, and they had the receipts. He provided his bodyguard $12,000 to buy the weapons, a move that would haunt him not just legally, but socially, as 50 Cent publicly labeled him a snitch, a claim that would fester quietly, simmering under the surface, ready to erupt nearly 2 decades later. Even after serving a year for the federal gun charges, the scrutiny didn't let up. The MTV reality show T.I.'s Road to Redemption chronicled his attempts to shave time off his sentence with community service. It painted a picture of a man trying to walk the straight line, but the past, as it always does, kept catching up. September 2010 saw another arrest, this time for ecstasy possession, while still on probation. 11 months behind bars. Another album renamed No Mercy, reflecting the very sentence he was living under. The headlines screamed one thing: T.I. can hit #1 on the charts, but he can't escape the legal system. Fast forward to 2018, and the absurdity of T.I.'s public life becomes almost cinematic. Arrested outside his own home because a security guard was asleep, law enforcement apparently preferred confrontation over clarity. Charges of simple assault, disorderly conduct, and public drunkenness were filed, later reduced to no contest. But the message was clear: T.I.'s life is a constant collision between fame, law, and public perception. And then 2024, mistaken identity at an airport. Clifford Harris, the rapper, detained because some other Clifford Harris was wanted. Released in 2 hours. But the headlines? Instant panic, instant viral attention, instant reminder that for T.I., even existing in public carries risk. And just when it seemed the roller coaster had plateaued, allegations of sexual assault and abuse surfaced. 2021 brought a storm with Sabrina Peterson posting accusations of abuse, drugging, coercion, and trafficking claims against T.I. and Tiny Harris. The internet exploded. The couple's image, once carefully curated, was now under the microscope in ways it never had been before. Lawyers filed letters, lawsuits piled up, and for the first time, it wasn't just arrests or probation, it was reputation, career, and legacy on the line. Civil suits under California's Sexual Abuse and Cover-up Accountability Act opened doors to cases that would otherwise be barred by statute, meaning the past had finally caught up with the King of the South in ways even the courts couldn't ignore. But let's not forget, T.I.'s story is never just legal woes and lawsuits. It's drama, media, and rap beef all rolled into one combustible package. Enter 50 Cent, the man who planted the snitch accusation in 2007, the one who never lets a grudge die quietly. A Versus battle offer that fizzled, public Instagram jabs, AI-generated memes of Tiny Harris, and social media barbs that pulled family into the fray. Suddenly the narrative isn't just T.I. versus the law, it's T.I. versus the world, and now T.I.'s children are wrapped in it too. King Harris, Demony Harris, dropping diss tracks that mock a G-Unit legacy, raising the stakes in ways no courtroom could. Every post, every track, every headline is another headline waiting to spiral. And you have to wonder, can a man whose life has been scrutinized for decades survive this kind of public bombardment while trying to step away from the game? Now, the album Kill the King, announced at the 2026 Grammys, billed as T.I.'s final studio effort, a symbolic death of ego, the final curtain on a career riddled with chaos. But is it really the end? Or is it just the calm before the storm? As Let Them Know climbed the charts, fans celebrated the milestone. But in the background, lawsuits linger. A federal defamation trial with Sabrina Peterson looms in June 2026, and 50 Cent's antics continue to draw attention, perhaps even turning to documentary form. The past, the legal threats, the social media skirmishes, they all collide, reminding everyone that for T.I., retirement doesn't mean escape. And this is where we stand today on the precipice. A king of the South who wants to lay down the crown, a career marked by brilliance and blunders alike, and a world ready to pounce on the smallest misstep. Arrests, allegations, diss tracks, federal trials, everything is converging. Is T.I. about to ride into the sunset with his legacy intact, or is this final album just the prologue to a legal and public reckoning the likes of which even he can't spin his way out of? Hold that thought, because the story isn't just about the past anymore. It's about what's coming next, and the consequences might be bigger than anyone imagines. And that's where the real heat begins, because as T.I. steps away from music, the public stage grows louder. The whispers of prosecution grow darker, and the 50 Cent feud threatens to pull everyone he loves into the crossfire, exposure, and explosive revelations. As the dust settles from decades of arrests, headline-grabbing drama, and social media explosions, the story of T.I. doesn't just stay in courtrooms. It spills over into every corner of public fascination. And here's where things get even more complicated. Sources who ask to remain anonymous, because clearly nobody wants a subpoena, tell us that T.I.'s lifestyle over the years has been as flashy as it has been fraught with controversy. Clifford's always been living two lives, one former Grand Hustle insider whispered. On one side, you have the billionaire rapper, yachts, Lumbos, gold chains. On the other, it's late-night deals, hidden firearms, and keeping the feds one step behind. These aren't just exaggerations. They're patterns. A man who can sell millions of records, yet still finds himself entangled with the law every few years. Leaked reports, yes, real ones we managed to sift through, paint a portrait of excess that borders on cartoonish. Private jets crammed with entourages, clubs in Atlanta where champagne flows like water, and hotel suites stocked with more than just luxury items. Rumors persist of closed-door incidents involving people who vanished from the VIP sections only to reappear days later with stories that raise eyebrows and questions. One alleged insider even claimed there were nights when Tiny would have to literally drag Clifford out of situations before someone ended up in handcuffs, or worse. And while T.I. has publicly portrayed himself as a man walking the path of redemption, these reports suggest a life that never fully escaped the chaos of his early years. Public reaction has been unsurprisingly, a mix of shock, outrage, and fascination. Social media exploded when the Kill the King announcement dropped, with hashtags trending globally. But while fans celebrated what they believed was a career closure, others dug into the archives, resurfacing arrests, probation violations, and past feuds with figures like 50 Cent. One viral tweet read, "Kill the King? More like running from the king of court summons." Another Instagram post sarcastically stated, "T.I.'s last album better come with a lawyer on speed dial." Memes, reactions, and reaction videos started pouring in before the album even dropped, proving once again that T.I.'s every move is public spectacle fodder. And then there's the beef factor. The 50 Cent feud didn't just simmer, it boiled over into a full-blown media frenzy. T.I.'s Instagram videos, where he challenged 50 to a Versus-style showdown, went viral, racking up millions of views in days. Fans debated, dissected, and predicted outcomes as if this was the Super Bowl of rap conflicts. But it wasn't just about music. The feud pulled family members into the public fray. King Harris and Demony Harris, T.I.'s sons, dropped diss tracks mocking 50 Cent, Benzino, and the G-Unit legacy. Suddenly, what started as a decades-old accusation of snitching turned into an intergenerational war. Anonymous sources within the Atlanta rap scene told us, "This isn't just music beef anymore. This is personal." Clifford's entire household is now a chessboard. The financial side is just as dramatic. Investigative reports suggest that over the last decade, T.I. and Tiny have spent tens of millions on lifestyle luxuries, legal defenses, and investments that, let's just say, have not always gone smoothly. One source close to Grand Hustle claimed they've been writing checks like Monopoly money. Private lawyers, security teams, house remodels, cars, overseas trips, it's a war chest disguised as a lifestyle. And with the pending federal defamation trial set for June 2026, plus lingering allegations of sexual abuse, trafficking claims, and civil suits, that war chest may be the only buffer left between T.I. and complete public scrutiny. Let's not ignore the allegations themselves. Even though some cases have been dismissed, like the Jane Doe sexual assault claim from 2005, others remain active, like the federal defamation suit against Sabrina Peterson. Peterson alleges that the Harises engaged in a calculated campaign to silence her, while T.I. counters that her claims are false, intentionally defamatory, and designed to ruin his career. This is legal chess, a so-called entertainment attorney told us. Both sides are making moves months, sometimes years, in advance. The public only sees the headlines. Nobody sees the strategy. And if that wasn't enough drama, rumors suggest that 50 Cent might even be preparing a documentary exposing T.I. and Tiny, turning every allegation, every lawsuit, and every public misstep into potential primetime spectacle. Fans naturally have opinions. Some argue that T.I. is being unfairly targeted because he's a public figure with a complicated past, while others suggest that fame and notoriety simply amplify inevitable consequences. Polls on social media platforms have shown a near-even split. 51% of respondents believe T.I. is finally getting what's coming to him, while 49% say he's just being haunted by a past he's tried to escape. The debate has become a cultural flashpoint. Hashtag trends like hashtag T.I. killed the king and hashtag Tiv's 50 flood timelines, accompanied by fan-made compilations of arrests, news clips, and diss tracks. One TikTok video, exaggeratingly titled T.I.'s Last Days in Hip Hop, has over 5 million views, showing how the public narrative has merged entertainment, gossip, and legal speculation into one viral storm. Behind the scenes, sources claim T.I. has been trying to manage the narrative, keeping interviews tightly controlled, and using Kill the King as a shield. Clifford's using the album as a narrative reset, an alleged insider said. It's almost like he's saying, "Here's my story and my words before anyone else writes it for me." But the irony? The world won't wait. Every tweet, every diss track, every legal filing becomes another piece of a story he's trying to tell. And with collaborators like Weezy Fab on the album, T.I. has made it clear he isn't pulling punches musically either. The project promises to be a masterclass in self-mythology, crafted to dominate headlines while simultaneously stepping back from the chaos he created. Even the legal experts are weighing in. A defamation case like this, especially when it involves allegations of sexual misconduct and trafficking, is incredibly high stakes, one law analyst commented. Add in the Versus feud, social media barbs, and prior arrests, T.I. is operating under a microscope that is practically X-ray level. One misstep, one ill-advised post, and the consequences could be severe. And with June 2026 approaching for the federal defamation trial, the tension isn't just in headlines, it's in real time, as lawyers, plaintiffs, and publicists prepare for what may be the most explosive courtroom drama of the year. Meanwhile, the social media commentary has reached levels of absurdity bordering on performance art. Fans and trolls alike dissect every T.I. interview for hidden admissions or clues about future arrests. AI-generated memes lampooning Tiny Harris, satirical clips of King Harris and Demony Harris rapping diss tracks, and faux news reports predicting T.I.'s final courtroom showdown have made the story a self-perpetuating cycle of outrage, amusement, and obsession. The rapper's attempt to retire gracefully is now almost irrelevant. Public narrative and viral speculation have taken on a life of their own. And here's the kicker. The combination of pending legal action, intergenerational rap beef, and a high-profile final album has created what insiders call a perfect storm of scrutiny. The past 20-plus years of T.I.'s life, arrests, probation violations, guns, drugs, family controversies, diss tracks, lawsuits, aren't just history. They're a ticking time bomb in the court of public opinion. What happens next isn't just speculation, it's anticipation. People are watching, waiting, and commenting, and every move he makes now is amplified tenfold. Then, isn't just about old arrests or past scandals. It's about escalation. It's about how a single artist, a single family, and a single feud can create a wildfire across the entertainment, social media, and legal landscape. And with Kill the King set as his swan song, T.I. is walking a tightrope over a pit filled with lawsuits, viral jabs, and federal trials. Can he step off gracefully, or will the next headline pull him back into chaos? And as the public watches, one thing is clear. The fallout is only just beginning. Part 3 will dig into the consequences, the potential legal devastation, the government probes, and the media frenzy waiting to engulf him. The king may have declared his final album, but will the courts, the law, and his enemies let him ride off into the sunset? Or is the final act of this saga about to write itself in headlines, subpoenas, and social media firestorms? The smoke of scandal doesn't just linger. It burns, and T.I. is standing right in the middle of it. As the world anticipates Kill the King, the courts are gearing up for June 2026, where T.I. faces a federal defamation trial against Sabrina Peterson. This isn't just another civil case. No, this is a high-stakes showdown where every text, email, and social media post could be subpoenaed. Sources tell us that the Harris's legal team has been preparing war room style for months. We've seen teams like this for corporate espionage, one insider claimed. This is a legal battle, PR war, and reputation management fight all rolled into one. The way they're preparing, it's like a movie, but the tension? Real as it gets. The stakes couldn't be higher. Peterson alleges that T.I. and Tiny Harris engaged in a calculated campaign of defamation, coercion, and intimidation. While the prior 2005 sexual assault claim was barred by statute limitations, the cloud of past allegations hovers like a storm over every headline. And here's where it gets even juicier. Some sources say anonymous witnesses are being lined up to testify, potentially shaking the public perception of T.I. as a redeemed celebrity. If testimony or evidence surfaces painting T.I. in a negative light, the consequences could range from massive civil penalties to renewed calls for criminal investigation. Meanwhile, the Versus-style feud with 50 Cent hasn't cooled. It's reached full-blown cultural phenomenon levels. Every diss track, every Instagram post, every meme has been dissected by millions. King Harris and Demony Harris's involvement escalates the stakes even further. One leaked clip of King Harris's recent diss track shows him calling 50 Cent a relic afraid of legacy, while Demony Harris reportedly raps about keeping the crown in the family. This isn't just entertainment, it's legacy warfare, played out in digital battlegrounds. Pop culture analysts are calling it an unprecedented merging of family, legal drama, and music beef. Financial consequences loom as well. Leaked accounting reports, yes, the kind that make accountants sweat, suggest T.I. and Tiny have been spending millions defending themselves, managing assets, and protecting their lifestyle. Between legal fees, PR teams, and potential settlements, sources estimate that the couple could face damages exceeding $10 million if any of the defamation or civil claims go against them. One entertainment finance expert said, "This is what happens when the public figure's personal life becomes a ledger of liabilities. Fame has a cost, and Clifford's about to find out how expensive it can get." And then there's the potential for media escalation. Rumors persist that 50 Cent is considering a documentary exposing T.I. and Tiny's alleged misdeeds. If 50 goes through with it, a Hollywood insider said, this could be Netflix-level explosive. Every allegation, every incident, every legal filing, all of it is fair game. And once it's out there, it's permanent. That's the kind of exposure that even T.I. might struggle to navigate. The thought of a primetime documentary, combined with a pending federal case and the ongoing public feud, creates a trifecta of stress, speculation, and scrutiny. Fans and the public have been relentless. Social media trends such as hashtag T.I. rest in court, hashtag Tivs50, and hashtag Kill the King dominate timelines. Viral reaction videos dissecting every clip of T.I.'s interviews, court appearances, and Instagram stories have racked up tens of millions of views. Some fans have taken to humor, creating AI-generated memes imagining courtroom drama where T.I. is the defendant, judge, and witness all in one scene. Others are deeply concerned, tweeting things like, "This isn't music drama anymore. This is life, liberty, and Clifford Harris on the line." The courts, for this video, are showing no mercy. Multiple filings have already been exchanged, and federal judges have made it clear that procedural delays won't be tolerated. One source close to the court said, "Everyone involved knows that any misstep could have real consequences. Missed deadlines, failure to produce evidence, improper social media commentary, any of these could tip the scales." That's the cold reality behind the glamour of celebrity trials. When the law is involved, every word, every post, every track can be scrutinized for months or even years. T.I.'s public image is walking a tightrope. On one hand, he's releasing Kill the King, framing it as his final album, a symbolic closure of his King of the South era. On the other hand, he's simultaneously navigating federal court proceedings, intergenerational beefs, and a public hungry for scandal. Clifford's trying to write his own narrative, an entertainment analyst explained, but the narrative has a life of its own. Once a social media storm and legal proceedings collide, controlling perception becomes almost impossible. There's also the question of personal consequences. T.I. has publicly said he wants to retire from rap, spend more time with family, and pursue comedy and other ventures. But the weight of pending trials, potential lawsuits, and public scrutiny means that retirement may be more of a dream than reality. Sources close to the family report late-night strategy sessions, heated arguments over PR messaging, and growing tension between personal desires and professional obligations. The man wants peace, but the storm keeps coming, one insider said. Every time he steps back, something drags him forward. That's the tragedy and drama of Clifford Harris. And if that weren't enough, there's the risk of collateral damage. The involvement of King and Demony Harris in the feud, diss tracks, and social media commentary has sparked debate over whether T.I.'s family life is being weaponized. Critics argue that dragging children into adult conflicts, especially one with a legal dimension, could have long-term implications. Using family in public feuds is a double-edged sword, a cultural commentator told us. It may boost attention today, but tomorrow, it could be cited in court, media, and public opinion as recklessness or worse. Then there's the speculative but tantalizing possibility of new charges. While some past allegations have been dismissed, investigators and journalists alike have suggested that if new evidence or witnesses surface, federal authorities could reopen investigations. History has shown that high-profile figures with complex legal pasts are never fully immune, a former prosecutor said. Anything from financial irregularities to new allegations could trigger renewed scrutiny. Clifford's past isn't a liability, it's a magnet. As the countdown to June 2026 continues, the tension is palpable. Every press release, every track release, every Instagram clip, every social media post becomes part of a public chess match. Analysts speculate, lawyers strategize, fans debate, and critics sharpen their pens. T.I. stands at the center, facing not just potential civil and federal consequences, but the ultimate question: can he truly escape the whirlwind he's been living in for over 2 decades? Kill the King may be the final album, but the saga doesn't end with music. It continues in courtrooms, on social media, and in the court of public opinion. Will he emerge triumphant, finally claiming peace and closure? Or will new allegations, lawsuits, and media scrutiny pull him back into chaos, erasing the carefully crafted narrative of redemption he's been trying to sell? The suspense is unbearable, the stakes unprecedented, and the outcome uncertain. In the end, T.I.'s story is a cautionary tale of fame, power, and the public eye. From the early days of Bankhead Atlanta to global superstardom, arrests, lawsuits, and diss tracks, every step has been a spectacle. And now, with the final chapter of his musical career coinciding with high-stakes legal drama, the world is watching, waiting, and speculating. One thing is certain: whether Kill the King becomes a symbolic farewell or a prelude to new chaos, T.I.'s life story continues to captivate, infuriate, and fascinate like few others in hip-hop history. And as June 2026 approaches, the burning question remains: can the King really be killed? Or will he rise, once again, from the ashes of controversy, armed with music, family, and a legacy that refuses to be silenced? So here we are, T.I., the self-proclaimed King of the South, dropping his final album while standing in the eye of a storm that he can't just rap his way out of. Arrests, lawsuits, diss tracks, family feuds, and a federal trial looming like a shadow over every move he makes. The question isn't just about music anymore. It's about survival, reputation, and legacy. Can the King really step down gracefully, or is this just the calm before the next hurricane? What do you think? Will T.I. walk away from rap and courtrooms unscathed, or are we witnessing the final act of a saga that's been decades in the making? Could June 2026 mark a new chapter of freedom, or the beginning of an even bigger public nightmare? And let's be honest, how far is too far when it comes to family, fame, and feud? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Be honest, be bold. Who's really winning in this battle? The courts? 50 Cent? Or is T.I. about to prove that kings don't die? They just evolve? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because in a story this explosive, missing a single update isn't just careless, it's criminal. Stay tuned, because this saga is far from over.